What wide receivers did you want to talk about?
T. Higgins, right?
Well, he already got the tag. So.
Yeah, he got. But that's what I'm saying. I think that's going to be a tag, not to keep him, but to trade him. Because if you look at this,
trade him. Okay.
Well, if you look at the scenario, right, Jamar Chase is due for a deal, and he was very vocal.
But they've said they've got enough cap space for all of it, right? They already extended Burrow, and then Chase will be next year.
They do because the cap went up. But my thing is, if you're T. Higgins and Jamar Chase gets a deal, and you've been waiting for a deal, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's just the way they were drafted into it, right? It's not. It's the way they've entered the league. He can't worry about that.
I mean, you can if you're due for a deal.
Well, sure, but so what does he do? Just play under the tag?
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, I think he wants to get traded and get that financial security. Now, again, he's going to get upwards to close to $20 million on the tag.
Hold on. He's gotten the tag.
Yeah.
So what's his recourse? He just doesn't show up.
Doesn't show up.
He pulls a Le'Veon Bell. I don't know that you could do that. He didn't have a good enough season last year to pull that card. And in other words, you only get a year older, and now you're kind of like running the risk of there's a lot of good wide receivers come out in the draft too. This is a deep class for it.
But a lot of people see him as a true number one.
Yeah, I see him as a number one.
Me too.
I'm just saying I don't know that your best or most viable option is leaving a place where you've got Joe Burrow as your quarterback.
I get
You're
that.
going to be competing for Super Bowls, at least division championships in the playoffs. And then you still have the opportunity to sign a long-term deal with a lot of financial security because I think they want to keep him. I think they want to have T. Higgins on one side, Jamar Chase on the other.
A lot of money allocated to the receiver position.
Yeah, it is. And quarterback for that matter. But
yeah,
you've got the ability to do that when you have a salary cap as high as it is, and you have Joe Burrow at quarterback. Like, to me personally, you could restructure his contract every year to convert a portion of that into a signing bonus, spread it out, and then be able to create more cap space for other players. So I'm not – when you're a team with a quarterback, right, and you hear Brandon Beane kind of say this in regards to the amount of picks they gave up to trade up and take Josh Allen. Yeah, he's like, hey, look, if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to be here. If it does work out, no one's going to care. Yeah. It's the same thing with how much you spend on your quarterback. If it's working out, no one cares.
No one cares.
And you can
except for the owner that's writing the check.
Well, maybe him. But if you're winning Super Bowls like Clark Hunt and all that, he doesn't care. He'll gladly write the check. So I think when you look at how you go about structuring a contract with another player, when you've got a Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, whoever, you've got a little more ability to say, I feel good about every single year going to refinancing with my mortgage company, which is my quarterback, and then creating more cap space there. And, you're going to have some cap casualties, but that's the name of the game. Like, you've got a guy who knows your system and right away can come in and be a 1A, 1B with Jamar Chase, a wide receiver.
I just think it's interesting because in today's society, not even say today's society, I could say this for football as long as it's been around, some players put an emphasis on financial security more than winning championships. And we've seen that.
My only thing is I don't think he has control over that right now. Like, I think if you're going to go play under the franchise tag, have a great year, then you force the Bengals into saying, all right, we got to pay Chase and we got to extend him or put the tag on one of these two, right? Okay. That's a different scenario. Like that scenario to me makes a lot more sense than sitting out a year. We've seen that. We've seen that movie. It didn't work out too well.
Well, ultimately, I don't think he sits out a year because you don't want to not get paid $20 million, right? But we've also seen players that have been put on the tag that don't have as productive of years end up getting less money because of it, right? We saw Saquon Barkley, and this could have been the running back market period, but we've seen Saquon Barkley. We saw Josh Jacobs, who led the league in rushing the year before, not have as a productive year. Now they're going to get way less than they probably would have gotten on the open market.
But a lot of that has to do, too, like Jimmy Garoppolo got benched. That became a disaster in Las Vegas. If you look at the Giants, Daniel Jones gets hurt. That becomes a little bit
It was already a disaster. Why he was healthy, though.
So you gotta understand, like, look, as a player, you're always taking that risk, right? You can't tell the future. And, a lot of times, if something doesn't go your way and then all of a sudden they're stacking the box to stop the run because they don't feel threatened by the quarterback, of course that's going to play an impact on you. I just think if you're T. Higgins, you got to kind of look at the bigger picture of, I could get paid a ton of it. Because the other end of this argument is he gets the first crack at the apple. Yeah. Like, if they sign an extension, he might get a great deal.
Yeah.
And so we don't necessarily know what that's going to look like. All we know right now is they got the cap space to be able to pay him, and then they can worry about Jamar Chase the next year.
But the way that Jamar Chase was talking, he's not trying. It don't sound like he was trying to hear that, because even a reporter asked him, would you potentially take less money to re-sign T. Higgins? You know what his answer was? No. He was like, that's a good question. He was like, well, it doesn't necessarily need to come from me. It comes from somebody else. So I think he's trying to reset the market, Jamar Chase. And he would probably love for Justin Jefferson to get paid first so he could talk what he's going to make.
And the tough thing about this is, as we kind of wrap this conversation, is just the Brown family for the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously, not as flush with cash like a lot of the other owners we see. So that could be difficult as far as the structure, figuring out how you get a big signing bonus, and it's cash over cap. So how
and
you
he was adamant about that, the upfront money and the guarantees.
Which is what a lot of players want for more of their financial security and a lot of those guarantees.